أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. With the will of Allah Jalla wa ala, we will start with these short classes where we are going to have a look at the practical side of tajweed, which is very important. We are going to have a look at the most common mistakes that people make while reading the Quran, and of course we will have a look at the surah, the plural of surah and not surahs, please, that people know. So we are not going to have a look at Surah Al-Baqarah, for example, apart from the 5 first verses. And I would like you to grab a pen and paper and to note some of these things down, so that you, bi'idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala, might eventually learn from it and maybe pass it on to other people. So we are going to start with Surah Al-Fatiha, inshallah. So if you would like to take Surah Al-Fatiha in front of you, that would be very kind of you. So I'm also going to share with you, whilst we are doing this, some important things you should know, which will help you to improve your qira'ah, your recitation, in quite quickly, inshallah. And of course we are going to read the qira'ah of Asim and the riwayah of Hafs. And what qira'ah and riwayah is, we will mention afterwards, inshallah. So what we have to know is, we are going to start with the isti'adha, then the basmala, and then we are going over Surah Al-Fatiha. When a lot of people start, the first mistake they make is in the dhal. A lot of people make a mistake in the dhal and the ayn when they say a'udhu. So some have a problem with pronouncing the ayn, so they would say a'u, a'u instead of a'u, and then they say zu instead of dhu. What is very important to know is that every letter should be pronounced with its vowel. So the dhal has a separate dhamma and the dhu has a separate dhamma. So we should clearly hear you make that distinction between these two. So you're going to say a'udhu, a'udhu. Then we have billahi. Some people say billahi. The la, we don't have la. Now we have la, or we have Allah, la, but we don't have la. This doesn't exist. So we say a'udhu billahi. Then we have mina. A lot of people would say mina shaitan. No, there is no no. There is mina. Okay, mina shaitanir rajim. Very important for the Moroccans amongst us is not to say rajim. It's not a jim, it's jim. So rajim. And also shaitan, don't make the sheen too heavy, as you would say, for example, sha. It's shaytanir rajim. Then we have bismillahir rahmanir rahim. A lot of people don't go for the ha, they go rather for the ha. So they would say bismillahir rahmanir rahim. That would be wrong. It's rahman, rahmanir rahim. Also, watch out that you don't pronounce it like a British R, for example, if I'm allowed to say this in this way. Like you would say Bismillahir Rahmanir R. It's not a R. When you say R, you are not ticking your palate with the tip of your tongue, so you're not saying Ra. So we have Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Then we have Alhamdu, same thing. Don't say Alhamdu. A lot of people say Alhamdu. Other people, because they they speak a bit like British people, and I mean, because most probably they live there, and then they would say Alhamdu. So they would say do. Don't say Alhamdulillahi. Say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay, same with a. Don't say Alameen. Say Al-Alameen. Same, don't say Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Don't do this. Two mistakes, your Ra and your Ha. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. A lot of people would say yo, maliki yo. I even don't know how they do it, but they would say yawmiddin. It's not yo, it's yo. So maliki yawmiddin. Very important. Don't say yawmiddin. Teen. Some say pronounce the dal here as a ta. Maliki yawmiddin. Here, very important as well. Don't say إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Don't do that. Emphasize on the ya. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Here in the next one, a lot of people make mistake. So here we have اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. So a lot of people would make all the letters light or all the letters heavy. They would say اهدنا na to prepare themselves to get to the sad. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. That's wrong. We have, in this case, 4 letters that you have to remember, which is the sad, the dad, the ta, and the va. These 4 letters, sad, dad, ta, and va, the most heavy ones. And then you also have your ghain and your qaf, your ghain and your qaf that you are going to remember. So apart from these letters, and aral maftuha, for example, and the kha, you will have no heavy sounds. So ihdina would be wrong. It's still ihdina. And then you have to go to the sad. And the sad here is at its weakest, because the sad with the kasra, yani, is not as heavy as a sad with a sukun, or as heavy as a sad with a dhamma, or as a sad with a fatha, or as a sad with a fatha followed by an alif, which are the degrees of heaviness indeed. And this is why we notice, because of the difficulty here, that we see, for example, in the qira'ah of Ibn Kathir, for example, through one of his rawis, then you will see that it is ihdina sirata. He pronounces it with a sin, for example. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط. But we are reading in Hafs, so we are going to say اهدنا الصراط المستقيم مستقيم. So very important that when you have a scene with a sukun like mus here, that is preceded by a letter with a dhamma, a lot of people will turn it into a sad. So they would say mustaqim. No. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم and most probably they do this because they keep their lips in the form of a dhamma, maybe, so they would say mus. So you say mustaqim. Same thing, صراط الذين. Don't say صراط الذين, for example, because the lam is not heavy. صراط الذين أنعمت. A lot of people here go أنا أنعمت. There are 5 letters with which you are allowed to say a, and that's the qaf. You write them down: the qaf, the ta, the ba, the jim, and the dal. Yani qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. For example, abwaba, abwaba, ajdada, and so forth. No? So here, this is not the case. I'm not allowed to say then an'amta. So I have to say an'a. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Don't lose your ha, because it's very easy to lose your ha. عليهم. No. عليهم. غير. And here a lot of people, have a throat sound like غيري. This is not right. We have غير المغضوب, and don't say مغ. Why? Because there are only 5 letters where you're allowed to do this. مغضوب and not مغ. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Very important in ولا الضا is that you don't make the lam heavy. So don't go wala, go wala, wala الضا. Okay, and the da is 6 counts. But we're not going to talk about the counts now. And then we are going to Surah Al-Ikhlas, and that's the last one for today, inshallah. Surah Al-Ikhlas or Al-Ikhlas, because we don't have law. Ikhlas, this is when we say it, but not when we read Quran. So, very important, we have the first verse, which is قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Also very important, a lot of people say ahad, no, ah. Why is this difficult? Because you have to go immediately twice to your throat. These are the throat letters, the hamza and the ha, the ainun and the ha and the ghainun and the kha. Don't write them down yet. So we have قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. The dal, once again, as I said, belongs to these 5 letters. These 5 letters, and of course the throat letters are 6, belong to these 5 letters that are qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. So we say ahad. Also very important when you are going to connect ahad with Allah, because there are 2 sakins, meaning ahadun, qul huwa Allahu ahadun, because there is a tanween. When we are going to connect it, we're going to read this tanween, and it's like you have a silent noon, a noon without a fatha, dhamma, and kasra, right? You say ahadun. So how am I going to connect this with Allah? Am I going to say ahadunullah, ahadunallah, ahadunillah? Because there are 2 sakins, 2 letters with a sukoon, I am going to place a kasra after the tanween. Like it's like I'm putting a kasra under a silent noon. Ahaduni. Okay? So I'm going to say قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. And then also very important, not samad, samad. لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يولد. Once again, the dal. ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Here you have to take care because there are different qira'at here. And very often people mix them because they heard different qira'at. So they're going to say, for example, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ, كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ, or كُفْأً أَحَدٌ, and so forth. So we are going to read Hafs and we're just going to say وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And this is in brief our first class. Of course, it's never sufficient to listen to a class like this or to attend a class like this without then practicing and reading. But inshallah, it can help you out. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this beneficial. Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.